Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by green fields and shady trees, there lived a dog named Bruno. Bruno was clever and strong, but he had one big flaw. He was very greedy. He always wanted more than what he had, no matter how much he got. Every day, Bruno roamed around the village searching for food. He would sneak near the butcher's shop, sniff around the baker's stall, and sometimes even beg from kind villagers. Everyone knew Bruno as the hungry dog because his stomach never seemed full. One bright morning, as the sun shone over the village and the birds chirped on the trees, Bruno felt hungrier than ever. He walked here and there, sniffing for food, but all he could find were a few bones scattered around the garbage heap. He growled, "These are too small for me. I need something big and tasty today." So he kept walking, hoping for something better. After some time, Bruno's nose caught a delicious smell coming from behind the butcher's shop. He peeked through the door and saw a big, juicy bone lying on a table. The butcher had stepped out for a moment, and the temptation was too much for Bruno to resist. Without thinking twice, he quietly sneaked in, grabbed the bone with his mouth, and ran away as fast as his legs could carry him. He was so happy that he barked with joy, but the bone was big and heavy, so he tried not to drop it. What a lucky day, he thought. This bone will keep me full for days. Bruno ran toward the outskirts of the village, away from people who might take the bone back. Soon he reached a small wooden bridge that crossed a narrow stream. The water below was crystal clear, sparkling under the sunlight like silver. As Bruno trotted across the bridge, he looked down and suddenly stopped. There in the water, he saw another dog. The dog looked exactly like him and had a big, juicy bone in his mouth. A bone that looked even bigger than Bruno's own. Bruno's eyes widened. "That dog has a bigger bone than mine," he thought greedily. "If I can grab his bone, I'll have to. Then I'll be the happiest dog in the world." He growled at the reflection. But of course, the other dog growled back. Bruno didn't realize that he was looking at himself. He thought it was another dog trying to challenge him. Angry and jealous, Bruno barked loudly, "Woof, give me your bone." But as soon as he opened his mouth to bark, his own bone slipped and fell into the stream. Splash! Bruno gasped and looked down in shock. The water rippled, and the reflection disappeared, along with his bone. The current carried it away quickly, and soon it was gone. Bruno whined sadly, staring at the empty water. He had lost the only bone he had, all because of his greed. He sat down on the bridge, feeling miserable. "If only I hadn't been so greedy," he sighed. "I could have enjoyed my bone in peace. But now I have nothing." Just then an old dog named Max, who lived nearby, walked up to him. Max had seen everything. "Bruno," Max said kindly, "you've learned a hard lesson today, haven't you?" Bruno lowered his head. "Yes, Max. I was foolish. I thought there was another dog with a bigger bone, but it was just my own reflection. I opened my mouth to grab it and lost mine too." Max nodded wisely. "Greed, my young friend, makes us blind. When we want more than what we already have, we often lose even the little we possess. Be content, and you'll always be happy. Bruno sighed deeply. He realized Max was right. He thanked him and slowly walked home. His head hung low. His stomach was still empty, but this time his heart was full of understanding. As he walked, he thought about all the times he had wanted more food, more treats, more everything, and how it never made him happy. What truly mattered, he realized, was being grateful for what he had. That evening, Bruno returned to the butcher's shop. The butcher saw him and laughed. "Well, Bruno, back again. You look hungry." Bruno wagged his tail, but this time he didn't try to steal. He sat quietly, waiting patiently. The butcher smiled and tossed him a small bone. "Good dog," he said. Bruno took it gently and trotted away. When he reached his favorite spot under a big banyan tree, he lay down and started chewing happily. The bone wasn't as big as the one he lost, but he enjoyed it more than ever, because now he understood the value of what he had. As the stars twinkled above, Bruno whispered to himself, "I may not have 2 bones, but I have a full heart, and that's enough." From that day onward, Bruno changed. He stopped chasing after every scrap of food he saw. When other dogs barked greedily over leftovers, Bruno simply smiled and said, "Be careful, greed can make you lose everything." The other dogs didn't believe him at first, but soon they noticed how peaceful and happy Bruno had become. They began to respect him, and some even started calling him Wise Bruno. One day, a young puppy came running to him crying, "Bruno, I found a big piece of meat, but I dropped it while trying to get another one. Now I have nothing." Bruno chuckled softly and said, "Don't worry, little one. I once made the same mistake." Remember this, the greedy dog always loses his meal, but the thankful one always sleeps well. The puppy nodded and wiped his tears. Bruno patted him gently with his paw. "Learn to be happy with what you have, and the world will always seem full." Years later, Bruno grew old, but he was loved by everyone in the village. He was no longer known as the greedy dog. He was known as the dog who learned the power of contentment. Whenever a child or puppy was being greedy, the elders of the village would smile and tell them, "Let me tell you the story of Bruno, the dog who lost his bone because of greed and found wisdom instead." Moral of the story: greed always leads to loss.